Hello and welcome to my review of Us. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just going to be basically my random thoughts and impressions and just exploring some theories that I've seen online and some that I've come up with myself. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this format of this video, and I hope you enjoyed this video overall because it's just different. It's just an experiment that I'm doing, and let me know whether you like it or not, and what you think of this whole type of video. So yeah, enjoy the review. So yeah, the reason I'm doing this whole video anyways is because this is Jordan Peele's second movie and I really enjoyed it, and also I really enjoyed Get Out, so I guess that makes me a little bit of a fan of Jordan Peele. So that's probably another reason why I'm making this video. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do, just to like make a video that goes really deep into this movie. So yeah, strap in because I feel like this video is going to be really long, and the reason the format's like this, like that's not a video, I just thought it'd be convenient for me to do it like this and for my audience, because if I'm primarily doing podcasts, I thought I should maybe do some videos without actual video and just audio so people can watch it whilst they're doing other things, so it'll just be easier just if it's vocal. But yeah, it's just an experimental type of video and I hope you like it, and if you don't, just let me know and I'll stop making videos like this. So yeah, let's begin the review by talking about the opening of the film. The film opens with a beach, and apparently it's referencing some film, but I've never seen that film. But it also reminded me of Jaws, and just the whole vibe of it. Jaws is a movie that's really good at building tension, and I think the opening scene on the beach really did a good job of that as well. I mean, I think the whole scene pays homage to films like that and movies in that genre specifically. So yeah, another reference of that is obviously everybody's talking about the little girl wearing the Michael Jackson t-shirt, and people are referring to that because Michael Jackson back in the day was one of the biggest pop stars of all time, and even he is even one of the biggest pop stars of all time even today. But because of all the things that have come out in light of him recently with the documentary and everything showing a completely evil side to him, people are saying that, oh, that's the reason why he's really put the Michael Jackson stuff on the shirt, because there's two sides of him in real life, and that basically reflects on the whole movie's theme. But in an interview by Jordan Peele, he just debunked that theory completely, and he said that when he basically put the shirt in the movie, he hadn't even seen the documentary or heard. He must have heard the rumors because they've been circulating for a while, but that wasn't his intention. His intention was just to basically, what's the word? The intention was to magnify the fact that this film was made in the 80s. That scene was basically in the 80s. So yeah, I really like the idea that within the basic first act of the film, our main characters are already literally face to face with the monsters of the film. Actually, before I talk about what I really like about the film, let's talk about what I think of the film overall. Overall, I think that the film is great. 9 out of 10 for me. And yeah, I just think overall it's a really well made movie. It's very well balanced. The whole character is really balanced. Everybody gets fleshed out. All the characters are really equally done. So we get to know all of the characters equally, not like some other horror movies. They don't leave anybody basically behind. All of the characters are original. The whole idea of the story is original, which is another reason why I really like it. So yeah, so my first impressions was really good. I don't even have any negatives for this. I don't know why, but like really I can't think of anything negative for this film. Even after pondering and thinking about it after a few weeks, there's nothing really that's come up that, well, there is the part that's the twist, and people are saying that yeah, the twist was really obvious and we saw that coming from a mile away. But I think at the beginning of the film, I was like, yeah, that's what the twist is gonna be. But then as the film went on and on, it basically took me straight off that trail. So I really didn't. It did a good job of basically making you think that something else was happening. But another thing that I really enjoyed about the film is the fact that it has so many layers. Just like Get Out, it's got the surface layer of this suspense thriller, but underneath it's got this excuse me, it's got this racial kind of racial dialogue going on. Us is no different to that. It's got the two levels of the film, and yeah, I really enjoy it. So let's get back to the film. I really like the idea that within the basic first act of the film, our main characters are literally face to face with the monsters of the film. It's refreshing because usually I hear people saying that they prefer to leave the monster up to their imagination in films, such as like Alien and films like Jaws. All those films they show the least amount possible of the villain of the film. But in this film, all the villains are literally like it's brightly lit the areas. We get to see them fully, and they're still just as scary because the whole idea that Jordan Peele's made is just is brilliant because it doesn't rely on you having to leave it up to your imagination because it's already there. Like the image is really clear what it is, and even though it's clear, it doesn't disappoint you, so it doesn't make you less scared. So yeah, I really like the aspect of it because the idea was solid, the execution just followed it. So because the idea was really good when you watch it, it doesn't disappoint you. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's really yeah. The fact that the monsters look exactly like them allows us to be able to examine them and still be terrified. And that's what I was saying before, basically, is that it's still scary even though we see them like brightly lit and everything because they look exactly like them. So it just creeps you out on another level. But it's just crazy how the whole movie is made, and I really liked it. Another thing I've been hearing around this film was basically how Jordan Peele balances his horror with his comedy perfectly. And I couldn't agree with that more because the whole movie is really scary, but the funny moments don't outplay it don't overshadow how tense the movie is and everything. So that's what I really enjoyed about this film is that because it's directed by a comedian, because Jordan Peele is basically a comedian. He made Key and Peele and everything, so he's a really good one as well because Key and Peele is a great show. So the fact that he's a comedian he doesn't just put that aside and say I'm only a horror movie director. I like the fact that he's basically got everything that's in him and just pushed that out and put that onto film because he's a director and a comedian. So both of them coming into a film, they shouldn't be at different sides clashing. And the way he's doing it, that merges them together and pushes them out, is really great. I really like that because no other movie does it like that, except like parody movies and stuff. But even then, it's different to how Jordan Peele does it because the comedy and the horror are basically one and the same. They're not two different sides of the pole. But yeah, he does have a special way that the scene. He does have a special way of making a scene that can make you laugh, but can still be seen just as tense and scary as it was when you first saw it. It's crazy how it does it. I can't explain it with words, but when you watch it, like the scene is still scary, even though there's something happening is funny. So you're still the audience is laughing, but they're still scared. So it doesn't basically blow all attention, but it allows the audience to breathe a little bit, which is really great. Loved it. Another thought I had after watching some interviews with Jordan Peele, I got to know a little bit more about his taste in horror movies, and I know he's a huge fan of The Shining, which he even references in his debut film Get Out. I like how his film goes all in, and the references in the film, it's kind of obvious and also non-obvious. Obvious ways he references movies would be the twins in Get Out, of course, because the twins are obviously paying homage to The Shining, which they basically were the first people who got twins, like those two identical girls, just dressed in normal clothes, who were just basically crazy. And he does this exact same thing in Us with those other twins, but they were a bit older than the ones in The Shining. So that just shows how he's a huge fan of these films, and he's showing that in his own films, which is really great. It's how he's paying homage, and it's just a really good way of paying respect, and it's just really cool for the audience to just see stuff like that and being able to pick them out and reference them out for themselves. I think he even references The Shining and Get Out, to be honest, with some of the hedges and stuff. I want to talk more about the references in his films, especially with The Shining, because it's not just like the twins and stuff, because that's like the surface level that the references match, but it's also like underneath. There's stuff like the themes would match, like The Shining being about how a family is being torn apart by supernatural causes, and that's also how um and also how Jordan Peele makes use of seemingly safe and welcoming environments, such as the house they stay in and the Overlook Hotel. There's two things that basically mirror each other. So the first film I'm talking about is in The Shining. It's about the Torrance family, who are basically a nuclear family, husband, wife, and a child, and they seem to be like great at the beginning. So and it's exactly the same as in Us. They're just like a normally functioning family as you see at the dinner table at the start. And when the parents are talking to the kids, it's at a dinner table and they're eating. And when we first see the Jack Torrance's mum talk to Jack, he's also eating too, which is a bit of a similarity there too. And the other thing is, The Shining itself is a supernatural force apparently in the film, and that's the thing that makes the whole family tear apart because it's what makes Jack Torrance go crazy. So I forgot what the boy's called now because the mum was talking to the little boy at the start. She wasn't talking to Jack while he was eating. She was talking to the kid. But yeah, so when so in The Shining, when everybody gets torn apart by The Shining, it's by The Shining. But in Us, the family is getting torn apart by a different supernatural cause, but it is still supernatural kind of. But it's more grounded as well. But it's still kind of a supernatural kind of thing because it's crazy, like a twin. So it's kind of the same. That's another link that I really liked. There are lots of other things as well, like The Shining family makes use of ordinary objects and fashion them into weapons, such as the baseball bat. And in Us, she uses that steel rod she gets out of the fireplace and uses it as a weapon. There are other things Jordan does in Us to reference older influential films, also made by Stanley Kubrick. So I'll mention one because when the neighbors' doppelgangers are going on their rampage, quote unquote, Alexa is playing music, which kind of mirrors the scene from A Clockwork Orange, and it just kind of mirrors that scene because in Clockwork Orange there's that music from the radio and they're basically beating their family up, but in this it's Alexa, and they use it kind of in a comedy way because she says Alexa call the police and they have the NWA's after police song on it, and it's just he uses it in a comedy way, but I think in the Clockwork Orange they kind of use it in a comedy way too because the music is kind of like it's just fully it's the opposite of what's going on the screen, so it's kind of funny in that way. But yeah, I can definitely see why this movie is being compared to The Shining because first of all of the references, and secondly, but most importantly, because of all the story elements. Like I mentioned before, this film is about a family being torn apart by supernatural causes, and also the family is in an Airbnb instead of a hotel, and couple all that with its ambiguous ending after the twist, it just all kind of shows the reflectiveness of The Shining. So yeah. Another thought I have on Us is a film where two different people can watch it, and so you could watch the movie with your friend, and the movie could end, and you could both have two completely different experiences watching the movie, which is kind of crazy, and it's also amazing and brilliant how he does it because that's something that I would strive to do if I made a film where everybody sees it differently, because that's just how art is. Art's all about the perspective of the person, and I just love how he does that. So if you watch it with your friend could say, "Oh, this is a movie about this," and you could say, "No, it's a movie about this." So like, for example, it was one of the theories I heard was the movie is about how it's all about just America and how people are all like are taking advantage of the surface life, and that's basically what the whole movie is about. But another person can just watch it and say, "No, this is a thriller movie where it's about a family fighting monsters." So there's just like literally there's two ways of watching the movie, and each time you watch the movie, you'll probably have a different experience if you know. So if you watch a theory or something and you find one, say from this video, you could go back and watch the movie and have a totally different experience than you had when you watched it in the cinemas, and I think that's just amazing, and that's just something to commend. But yeah, that's all due to the fact of how thought provoking and ambiguous the whole movie is. So yeah. One of the final things I want to talk about was in the end it's revealed to us that all along we have been following basically the real evil one. And it's a good plot twist for me. However, I think the reason that she is the doppelganger all along has a deeper meaning than what's on the surface. It presents the question to the audience asking, what does it mean to be good? What do the doppelgangers represent? Are they us? The reason I'm saying all of this is because we live in a society today that is governed by the digital world and social media. Because maybe because we're so involved in the digital world, we're not living our real lives and we're puppets to this machine. And we will copy what our influencers slash role models shows on social media. And that's why the doppelgangers copy what the people do on the surface level while they're acting like for example the scene in Us where all of the doppelgangers are underneath and they're just like acting like they're on a roller coaster, but they're not really, and they're having all of the same highs and everything. But it's obvious that they're obviously not feeling that because nothing's happening. They're all just standing in the line and they're not actually on a roller coaster, but they're making all of the same emotions that they are on a roller coaster. And I think that reflects in modern society when people are trying to basically act like they're influencers and role models on social media. So they will act like they're enjoying something that they're not really enjoying. And that's just how modern society works today. So like if somebody watches somebody they really like and they say they like something, and even regardless of whether the person who likes the thing that their influencer likes, they will say they like it because of their respect for that person. And that's what I got from that scene. But it might just mean like something else, but that's what I got from it. Because the other thing, I think in the movie they explained that they're like tethered together, and yeah, some crazy thing like that. But like I said, it's Jordan Peele and his movies do have deeper meanings, and I think that was probably one of them. And I think it's a good theory to explore, to be honest. But yeah, going back to the reveal at the end, when she's in the car with her son, which I don't even think that's her son, to be honest, because some theories suggest that it's not even a son, it's basically the doppelganger, because apparently the son knew how to do the magic trick before, and now he doesn't. And the reason why he doesn't is because he's the doppelganger, and the one who does is the one that got burnt last year, and then they swap places, because they do say that they have been on holiday last year. And there must be a reason why they said that in the movie, because Jordan Peele wouldn't have said, yeah, just include that dialogue piece where it's just a small piece of dialogue where the daughter says, oh yeah, last year he got locked into the cupboard too. But yeah, it's like, why would he include that dialogue if it didn't mean that? So I think that's basically confirmation of that theory. But I don't know, because they're all just theories in the end. So it doesn't have to be, it could just be something completely different. It's just based on the perspective of who's watching it. So yeah, that's another one of the theories that I saw. So this was basically all my thoughts and impressions on the movie Us, and I really hope you like this kind of style of video that I made. I know it's got no video to it, but it's just like an experiment that I'm doing. Like, you like this way of the video is because you can just watch it in the background and you can listen to me talk for a few minutes, or would you prefer to have me on actual video? This will just be an ongoing experiment from now, but all my videos are not going to be like this. These are just like special videos and movie reviews that I might be doing. I might not do another video like this ever again, but it's just like part of me experimenting, doing different type of videos on this channel. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Us. Did you watch the movie? Did you like it? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. But yeah, to me it was 9 out of 10. I loved it. But yeah, hope you like this video, and goodbye.